I want to actually have a bit more of a discussion first, and kind of just brainstorm with you guys some different ways to go about defending against a castle position. Now, the author in the book Art of Attack in Chess, he breaks it into two different categories, which I think is interesting. It's an interesting distinction. I have my own way of doing it too, and so we'll kind of explore both of those. So then, let's see here. Is it sharing the right one? Is it? Are you seeing this one here? Did I click the right one? Hopefully, I got the right one. Are you seeing the thing that says defending the castle king position?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So, like I said, this is a bit of a tough one. I wanted to challenge myself and do one that was a bit harder. So you have to forgive me if there's not quite the rhythm to it that there is normally, but it's an interesting subject, and so let's try to dig into it. What do you think are the sub list items of the way that he groups it up between direct and indirect? So you're castled, you got an attack coming on. What are the different subcategories here that you might think of in terms of this? Additionally, we're going to be exploring another way of thinking about it, like how to reply against threats and brainstorming here. Then we're going to take a look at a pretty advanced game. It's a pretty long one, and I think it'll be good too for just kind of understanding how to put up with an opponent who's really showing strong resistance as well. All right, so what can you guys come up with? Let's try some brainstorming here. What would direct defense be? Okay, trading pieces. Attack in the center, like counterattack and stuff like that. Cool. Nice, lots and lots of ideas. Cool. And like I said, this is a bit of a stretch because it's an interesting topic. It's a tough one to take on. So like I said, you'll have to forgive me if it's a bit choppy. I'm gonna list the first one here. So protecting the squares around the king. Neighboring squares. So another one of those is trading pieces. I think this is a huge concept that definitely applies, and we'll see where that fits in as well. So protecting the squares would kind of align with bringing pieces to the king side. Attacking in the center, I would say, is definitely a form of a counterattack, right? So counterattack. And then we have, there's a lot of these. It's pretty interesting how he breaks this up here. So transforming the castled position by moving the pawns. Kind of an interesting additional way to think about it. And in the link, actually, you can read exactly how he wrote it himself. So if you go like this, so chapter and intro text like this, and you click here, I did a little scan of it, so you can check it out here. It's a really awesome book. I put a purchase link. You can check it out there too. But let's keep trying to pencil this out here. All right, so transforming the castle position of the pawns. Blockade, that's definitely another one that he mentions as well. Would you say that falls into direct or indirect? I would think it would be direct, but doesn't seem to be listed in there. Another one here is a consolidating move. Like I said, this is a more advanced topic, so it's good for kind of overstudying it, basically. To be a good attacker, you have to have a good understanding of how to defend, Maybe both, depending. Yeah, definitely. So consolidating move, such as King B1. Okay, so what does he mean by that? Good question here. Moving the pawns. Key part there. So King B1 is basically if you castle queenside, then you don't want to be just stuck on C1 where you're going to be exposed to an attack down the C file or potentially along a diagonal. And so instead you go that way, and then you're going to be a bit safer on that square. It's pretty specific. I mean, it's an interesting list. So King's Flight is another one. You guys ever seen that kind of a concept before? It's where the king runs to the other flank and just evades capture. I mean, not capture, but an attack along that flank. And then defense by means of repulsing one's pieces. That's kind of an aggressive adjective. Trading pieces, I think. Someone mentioned that a second ago. Trading pieces for sure. All right. Any that we haven't mentioned so far and weren't in this one? What else do you think is gonna be in this one here? My goodness. Oh my gosh. We have 7 different things that he lists in here. The game itself is pretty advanced. I previewed it with another student earlier, and I felt bad because I realized it was kind of over his head. So it's really worthwhile to take the time to kind of understand this literature, because the game itself may not 100% resonate with you. So this is a good warm-up activity here. Exchange queens. Well, we talked about that a second ago, right? We said trading pieces. Pins. Not quite sure what you mean by that. I guess in a way, sure, yeah. Pins, like preventing them from invading and whatnot. Trading queen is definitely a big one, but it would fall within just trading pieces in general. So counterattack on the opposite side. So you're attacking along the king side, they come at you from the queen side, and that's one of the games we're going to be checking out here. Let's see here. So an action on the opposite side, first of all, prepares the grounds and then turns into an outflanking maneuver. Whew, that one's complicated. Let's skip that one. An action on any part of the board with aiming material. Okay, so gaining material. So independent of board zone area. Makes sense. Okay, and then what else we got here? Defender's counterattack does not lead to a mating attack, nor to a material positional advantage, but instead of an eventual transition to the direct method. Okay, so let's see here. Transition to a direct method. I'm sure that's palpable, but I'm not quite understanding what that means myself even. Let's see here. So what else we got here? Retaliation in the center. Okay, so that'd be kind of like this one here. Right, so counterattack in the center. I think someone mentioned that earlier. In the center. Okay, and then let's list one more, and then we're going to move on to another list that I got for you. That's a bit more basic. I think it'll stick with you. They're just 5 simple ones. And then he's got 4 different subcategories within that 7 bullet point. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. So we have kind of a good general overview. Okay, so let's check out the game in a second. It's gonna be this one, and it's a long one. It's a 52 move game, but they put up a good fight along the queen side. So we're gonna dig into that in a second. But first, let's do this. How about threats themselves? So this is my way of thinking about it, and I work with a lot of young kids and stuff. And so if you can explain something in a way that resonates with a 5-year-old, that's generally a pretty good like wait until you understand the material for sure. So it's kind of simple language, but if it's a threat, then if you do nothing, then bad stuff. If it's pressure and you do nothing, then nothing bad happens. So that is an important distinction between threat and pressure. So let's say they're threatening your queen. What are some ways that you could reply against that? I am seeing your comments. Sorry, I didn't reply to those a second ago. Defend. Yep, good. Okay, defend. So kind of like guard, square, right? Block, good. And then capture, good. And then protect would kind of go within defend, right? I used to say this right here. I used to say defend, and then a student pointed out that didn't make any sense because one of the items is defend. So reply against threats here. Run away, good. So run away. Block, and then C for capture. D for defend. Counter threats. Good. You guys nailed it. You nailed it. Good job. So the last one here would be ignore. And so that's going to be essentially what he's alluding to in his thing. In the other document we were having a look at, right, is indirect, so a counterattack. And so that's kind of what we're getting at there. Look for tactics. Yeah, sure. Kind of like ignore, basically. So check this out. I've even got it color-coded somewhere. No, where is it? Hold on. What if I undo everything? Yay! Okay, cool. It was this one. Woohoo! All right. I should have made a copy before I did all that. So check this out. I got it color coded in terms of black and blue here. So what is the difference between the ones that are in black and the ones that are in blue? And I'm also gonna make a little download of this here, and I'll do it after the class. I'll do a little follow up, and I'll send you guys this. What is the difference between the black and the blue? A threat can be executed in blue. Nope. 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 I would say about probably 3 out of 5 times I teach a class, no one gets the answer to this. And then randomly, an hour ago, this 9-year-old got it immediately. I've never had a student get it immediately. DNI allow the capture of a threatened piece. You're getting there. Who's gonna get it? Keep on thinking. What is the difference between the blue and the black? Well, direct and indirect, right? That's his way of grouping it up, and so it's good that you're making connections and whatnot. I would say probably this is all going to be direct, and then this is indirect, or maybe this is indirect too. I'm not quite sure. Nope, no one's got it yet. It's worth thinking about. See if you can get it. You guys are smart. Someone's going to figure it out. There's a satisfying answer to this one. Who's going to get it? What's the difference between the black and the blue here? $30 more seconds to figure it out. And if no one gets it, then I've officially stumped you guys. The black is highlighted in black. Blue is highlighted in blue. Yeah, right. Kind of. It's almost the answer in a way. Okay, the answer is these options here only apply if you're in check. If you're not in check, these ones here are not going to be available if you're in check. Make sense? If you're in check, you can run away, block, or capture. You don't have the option to just safeguard the square that your king's on, nor can you just merely ignore that. And so that is the difference there. But I find it interesting that he's got this different distinction that's pretty specific, and he just groups it up as direct and indirect. I think this is a more advanced way of thinking about it for sure. Well, you got to walk before you can run, and I would say this is the building block to get there. And this game is a pretty tough one. I was really intrigued to see how exactly he was even going to go about teaching this topic of defending the king right here. And so in this one right here, the attacker, white, is successful in doing so, but it's not one of those 25 moves games. It's one where they put up quite a fight for quite a while. It's a 50-move game. So, if it becomes a little bit stodgy, we may kind of skip around and look at those positional puzzles, but let's just give it a go and see what we can make of it here. All right, so we're going to go like this and there, and then what opening is this called? Per usual, I've got my handy dandy engine on the other monitor here, so when I reach a tough point, I'll be able to give you guys some good questions. Queen's Gambit decline, nailed it, exactly right. Okay, bishop here to e7, we bring in the knight, and then they go this way, rook c1, e3, so all standard moves, pawn to b6. And then we're going to grab this guy here, making this the Queen's Gambit exchange. And then they go takes, takes. We go like this. Bishop right here, castles, pawn to c5. Rogozin. Isn't the Rogozin where there's a bishop on b4? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So then here now we're going to do rook to e1. All right. What move do you think he would have would have preferred? He calls this move dubious, which is a bit harsh. It's up there. I mean, it's still a decent move. But the fact that he called this dubious is interesting. What move do you think he preferred here? The author. This game's from 1895, by the way. Pawn to e4. Nope, can't go here. Pow. Let's hear it. Pow. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3 attackers. Only got 2 defenders. No bueno. Rook e1's a pretty natural looking move. And I mean, I think he's a little bit too critical of it. I think this is perfectly reasonable, but it's an interesting discussion point to consider what are the other options. Knight to e2. No, I don't love that one. I mean, it's better here than it is on e2. I would say. You know, you got some pressure here, and if the knight comes into e4, you can take it. Queen c2. Good. Yep, this is the best suggestion so far. It's saying that's the engine's like basically top move. You can also do bishop to f5, which is kind of strange looking. Queen c2 is solid. The author says that he likes queen e2 the best. Okay, fair enough. Well, we're gonna go here. Rook to e1. And then now black goes here. Was this move good, bad, or okay? Yep, it's bad. Yep, and what's the reason for that? Not because of b3, but something else actually. Releases the tension. Yep. And so generally, if you have a double queen pawn opening and there's a queen's bishop pawn right here attacking this way or the same this way, you generally do not want to push this guy because exactly like someone pointed out here, you release the tension, and that's going to make it a lot harder to do a counterattack, right? So that's what we were talking about a second ago, is doing a counterattack. Open column after b3. You may go b3 in some situations to try to attack here. The trouble is that they're going to be able to make this little pawn wall, and so you can't really get past there. So the strategic problem with this isn't necessarily that we're going to be attacking it. It's that now black doesn't have the option to counterattack us when we attack him over here. Whew, that's a mouthful. Well, after right here, bishop to b1, let's see how the game continues. Pawn to a6, preparing, b5 in case of right here. Knight to e5. Powerful looking spot for that knight for sure. And then after right here, okay, how would you continue now? More than one good move? What can you guys come up with? Queen f3, solid suggestion. What else we got? This is one of those sort of non-critical positions, but it's good to be able to brainstorm just different alternatives. There's no less than 4 different moves that are within 0.1 right now, which is surprising. You would think that it's the board's kind of sharpening up and with the tension building that it would be critical, but more than one way to go about it. Queen to f3 is a good suggestion. Queen c2. Let's see here. Queen c2. I'm not sure if I love that move. Hold on. Is that on the option list here? Hold on. If you go queen c2, yeah, I'm not crazy about this one. So if you go here, g6 kind of shuts this guy out a little bit. A little bit too narrow of an attack. Like if the pawn was already here, this would probably be better, but you just can't. This won't work as well. h4 of 0. Okay, h4 is up there. Yeah, h4 is a good move. Yep. a3 is up there as well. Yep. You can do pawn a3. You can do queen f3. You can do h4. Or you can do what was played in the game by Pillsbury in 1895 and go pawn to f4. What's this pawn doing? We don't know yet. It's definitely supporting this guy. Let's see what it does next. I mean, we're gaining some space. Let's see how the game develops. Okay, rook to e8. And then now we're going to bring in the queen to f3. And they're going to go here. We go knight to e2, a move that was mentioned earlier, right? So now, remember what I said earlier about this knight to e2 move? Now, if you think about it, the position's changed. It's not as big of an issue to defend e4 from this knight invasion because we got it covered twice already. And this d5 spot is solidly no longer going to be a good target. Black's got 3 solid defenders on this one, so we kind of just give up on attacking that one and remaneuver the knight. So the timing was significant there. This is the right time to move it. Okay, knight comes here into e4. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Now the bishop's supporting it. Okay, that makes sense. Bishop, knight to e4. And then we got this guy under fire too. The board's heating up a little bit. What do you think would be a good move here? Snip snap? Oh, like a scissor? Snip snap? Trade bishop? So you can do this. You can do this. It's fine, but not the best actually. Okay, good. I'm worried about this right here, right? This is a potential problem as well, right? Queen to h5 is up there. Yep. So you go like this, and then now you've got pressure in multiple spots, and you're also guarding here on g5. So I would say queen to h5 is looking pretty good. In the game, he does a different move. What do you think is a move that's equal to queen h5? Just take. Right? You got this threat right here to where you're gonna lose a pawn. So going back to this right here, you can just capture. C for capture. This is a popular choice. You generally want to look for actually ways that you can do a capture or ignore. These are ordered alphabetically, but not necessarily in the order of priority. And so that's something to consider, right? So let's go back like so. Yep, you take like this, you go chomp, and then you get these guys traded off. Queen to g4. Hold on. Does that work? If you go here, it's going to fail tactically. You know what? They also have another attacker here too. So you have to go this way, so you have a counterattack on f7 in order to allow for something like that. All right, so the game continues. Here takes, rook takes on over this way. And then now we're going to go like this. We're going to take here, move that was suggested earlier. We just do it now. Okay, and then they take right back. Okay, and then where does the queen go? Here, 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 or here. This deja vu. I had a game just like this in a tournament. I traveled over to Seattle and rented a hotel and everything for it. It was a really fun event. It was they invited the top players like in the state essentially, and it was a lot of fun. I had a game where I was playing against a candidate master, and it was a very similar kind of a concept where I had to pick a square for my queen. It was on f5, and I went to g4, and it would have been better to go to h3. So sometimes you want to pick this stuff carefully. Not h3 or g4, you're saying, huh? Why not? Maybe. So if we move it over here, then the bishop can come back and kind of attack right here with tempo. Yeah, but then you can play this move. Kapow! Pawn f5. And I mean, this bishop is actually pretty well placed. It's not necessarily going to be better right here. It's on the long light diagonal. It's supporting this kind of wedge pawn essentially. So get this. You actually want to go to g3. You could also go to h3. This would also work. But in the game here, he's going to go this way. So what about this, though? We were praising this move a second ago and a lot of those variations. How come this is no longer as fitting? Well, they got it guarded now, right? Just like how we move the knight, right? When it was attacking something, it made sense. But if you go here and it's not really attacking stuff, then you want to pick a different square. All right, we're going to go right here, and now they go pawn to f6. They're attacking our knight. Okay, so only one good spot for a knight, of course. We got to go to g4, otherwise it's trapped. So we go like this, and then they go king over. Okay, and then how would you continue here? More than one right answer here as well. What do you guys got? F5 is looking good. F5 is also what was played. Nice job. Any other suggestions for what else could work here? Rook f1 and knight f2 would also be decent moves. But this plan right here makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're just going to bring in the rook. It's not doing anything here. You bring it on over this way, and then it's going to have some attacking chances along these, H and G files. Okay, so pawn to f5. Now we're going to do queen to d7, rook f1. And, once again, we're maneuvering. Kind of a big concept in attacking games, especially if it's a longer game like this. It's maneuvering your pieces. So then after right here, rook to f4, and he says, here we shall stop for a moment to describe the course of the game so far to point out the characteristics, features of this position. Black released his pressure on the center early on and thereby allowed white considerable freedom in arranging his pieces for an attack on the king. Against this attack, Black built up a typical direct defensive position for which offers considerable but not absolute resistance. His principal weapon in the event of a further concentration of White's pieces is, however, an indirect defense in the shape of the advance of the pawn majority on the queen side. Against a whole series of attacking plans, Black has successful replies in the form of retaliation on the flank. A particular point is that White cannot force the move knight to f4. It was because of this that Pillsbury decided rook f4, and he now abandons his preparations for knight f4 and regroups with the intention of attacking e4. All right, so he's switching it up. He's saying, okay, I'm going to go right here, and the author's pointing out, too, that this is a big counterattacking measure. When you are advancing your stuff on the queen side, a lot of times what you're trying to do is essentially advance a pawn. You're trying to promote a pawn. And so it's a long battle, and it's actually pretty close. It's a bit of a photo finish. These pawns actually do become a bit of a fearsome force, as we'll see as the game progresses. All right, so then after right here, he's going to go queen to d6. Okay, and then we're going to go queen h4, and he's going to slide over this guy. And now knight to c3. Was this move good, bad, or okay? One vote for okay, one vote for bad. By the way, if you have not already done so already, make sure if you have a chance tonight, sign up for this tournament here. So far, only one sign up. Oh my goodness, we got to get some more than that. So I'm going to put this link again in the chat. I'll just go to this page here actually. It's going to be 9 rounds. I checked the history of games you guys had from last month, and that seems to work for a lot of players about that timing. It's also going to be a Swiss thing, so there's going to be a break in between rounds, which is nice. If you don't have a break, you can't really try your best with the next rounds, So it's good to have a moment to pause. And so that's why I did Swiss instead of Arena. All right, so we got some different votes for bad. G5 fork. If here you can just do en passant. And so B4, yeah. B4 is the answer here. It's bad because of this move. They can just kick it away. So instead of this move here, let's see here, but then knight fork after the en passant. Okay, nice. Yeah, good suggestion here. Hold on, that's interesting. So if right here, and then we take, and then knight takes, then we're going to pummel this square. Kapow. Chomp, chomp. Pow, pow, pow. All right, so then we'll go back. All right, so instead of knight to c3, what should he have done instead? Looks like a safe move like pawn to a3, kind of slowing down this pawn avalanche would have been a good way to go. After right here, the opponent errors and goes bishop to d5, kind of letting white off the hook. And so now we're going to remaneuver our knight here to f2. Like I said, this is a long battle. Glad you guys are up for it. These are tougher to teach. It's easier to teach miniatures, but I wanted to challenge myself and do a bit of a longer game. So thank you guys for your patience while we explore this harder to understand concept of how to defend. Okay, now we go queen to c6, and then white's going to go right here, rook to f1. Okay, this move seems pretty natural here. Tactics on f6, I'm not sure. This move seems pretty natural. You know, the rook, he was here on f4. We might transition this guy up like so. We're not really going to be able to win c4 or anything, but it's actually a bad move. And instead, he should have gone with actually just takes right here, and then after that, maybe get like knight to h3. So why is the rook not very well placed right here? Takes d5, queen takes d5, knight takes f6. That's a double hopping knight. No double hopping knights. The rules won't allow it. Oh, before. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a relevant question, but for the sake of momentum, I'm just going to keep going with this one. I'm sure that I just don't understand your question, but just for the sake of momentum, I want to keep going here. So why is this rook considered misplaced here? What do you think? Why is it not fitting for it to be on that square? Yeah, no scope. You know, I mean, it was looking a little bit bleak for the rook. Aiming down at this c pawn. It's defended 3 different times right now. So we would think, well, this seems like an improvement, right? But, you know, black's going to be playing the long game. At some point, this will soften up a little bit. Yeah. You can lift. Well, you can't go to f3 because of this, but it's a consideration there for sure. So instead, the better move here would have been to take this guy and then go knight to h3. Okay, well, after right here, now they go pawn to b4. Now we bring the knight back this way, and then queen to a4. Okay, so after this move, then we're going to go knight to g4, and we're just going to let him take these pawns. So now it's really becoming much more cutthroat. It's been a pretty tense maneuvering game for a while, but now black's going for it, and then white's going for this. So it's really a counterattack situation for sure. Okay, so then knight to d7, and what do you think we should do here? It's sharpening up, so we got to be more careful about what move we choose. And it's kind of stodgy. I mean, we have a bunch of stuff over here, but, black's no schmuck. I mean, he's keeping an eye out for things, and doesn't look like there's necessarily a way to, punch through. The queen side is very weak after the rook move. Yeah, true. It's stodgy. I mean, it's a long maneuvering game. How do you make headway? Pawn a3 now. Oh, like this and this. I like it. Let's try it. It's bad. I don't know why. Let's take a look. This is interesting. So you're saying here, this way, and then knight c3. Yep. So then you got some pressure right here. Unfortunately, after like queen to b3, it's just not quite going to be worth it. Better yet, as it turns out, is they can ignore this and go wham like this. Remember, like I said, when you're doing a queenside pawn avalanche, the whole plan really is to basically win a pawn and then promote one of your guys. That's how I lost to an international master last weekend. It's one of those things where you see it coming, but you can't really do a whole lot about it. The perpetrator just needs to be really patient about it, so they just plow through like that. What else we got? Knight to g3. So knight g3, seemingly, a decent try, right? Trying to get these guys up right here. But like I said, the position is sharpened. So if you go here, surprisingly, you're losing. This is a serious problem. So if you don't have a counterattack of your own, we're going to get pummeled. How do you make progress here, right here? This is how you do it. You bring the rook back. You're going to actually go backwards so you can bring the knight in. I believe. Let's see here. You're going to backwards. Oh, the knight doesn't come in. Huh. What are we doing there? That's interesting. What is the point of this move? I guess just covering here, doing a little bit of defense, direct defense, right? Going back to one of those concepts we had a second ago. This one here, direct defense, just guarding those squares. Okay, so then after right here, now we're going to go king to g8. Now we do knight to c1, guarding these squares. You know, they're not just pawns. They're the pawns that are stopping these pawns from promoting. Okay, now pawn to c3. And then what do we do here? We're going to go pawn to b3. Queen comes back like so. Pawn to h3. What do you think is up to with this move? I'm going to skip that question. I'm not quite sure. I want to see what happens next. So here and then, oh, okay. Actually, yeah, he's going to go this way and then here and here. Aha! Oh, cool. I like this. We were waiting, right? We were waiting for a while to figure out how's he going to break through. Pawn breakthrough. So critical concept here. When the pawns do a little standoff like this, it can be really, really helpful for the attacking side since you open up a file. And he's making some retreating moves to be doing this. You know, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards though, right? Okay, so then here, pawn to g4, and then he says, a mistake which luckily is not properly exploited. It was not yet time for the bayonet attack by pawn g4. White should have played bx-a4, or else brought his queen back to the defense via g4 and d1. All right, so he gets away with it, but it wasn't technically the best move. Okay, so after takes right here, now this way, bishop takes, let's see, this way, here, there, this, and then now bishop takes. Okay, this move seems pretty good. So now I got a tough question for you. Why was this move actually a mistake? Good answer, by the way. Yeah, moving, make room for the rook and everything, yeah. This move is actually a mistake by a factor of almost 3 pawns. But he just gained a pawn. How can the eval go backwards by 3 pawns? It's because white has a very good move here. And it's not this. There's been a lot of moments where there's several good moves. In this position, you only have one good move. Knight e5, decent guess. I mean, if they go here, you can like advance forward with this move, but not here. Not g6, not here. What else we got? Not here. Not here. Remember the theme of a lot of these last few moves is remaneuvering. Yes, rook g2. This rook right here, okay, it's kind of neat that it was guarding these squares, but hey, it would do a lot more if we're here. Kapow. So now white takes the lead. So black actually could have slowed this attack down significantly by going right here, and then after queen takes, then going knight to f6, critical move. And so I'm not quite sure where that would fit in within that indirect or direct list, but I guess maybe trading pieces, right? That would be a critical concept there, and just delaying right here and say I'm gonna get this a bit later. Okay, let's keep going. Well, after right here, rook to g2, white takes the lead. He says a move which decides the game since it threatens both blank and blank. What are the 2 threats that are made by this move? What's the difference if this happens after rook g2? Okay, cool. I'm glad you asked about that. That's a good question. I'm curious too. All right, so the question is, well, what if in that situation, so we went here, instead of right here, he takes this way, we go here, knight to f6, and then now we do this. That's good. It means you're paying attention. Good question here. So what is the difference? Well, they can go like this, and then now I guess just they're going to have some chance to trade off right here. Like I said, I'm figuring this out myself too. Like I keep saying, I took on a challenge of doing a game I don't normally do. It's a tougher topic to manage, so I'm kind of working it through myself here. I suppose maybe the point is that now you have a threat because you can take this way and you can go knight to h6, as it turns out, knight to f6. And it's going to come with a check and everything. And so it's a critical tempo battle. And so having the chance to swap off some pieces, generally, I suppose, would make sense. As far as the precise reason for that, like I said, it's a good question. I don't necessarily know the answer. Okay, so we're going to go like this. Here, king comes on over. And then we go this way. And then here takes. This move loses quickly. He says a better resistance and even some chances of a draw would have been offered by the move knight takes f6, knight to e5, queen e8, knight takes b3, here takes, knight to g6 check, and then king g8, we take this way, here swaps, queen to g3. When white's got a good position, but it's actually been equalized, I suppose. So that's how the game could have gone there. So we took a misstep, and instead of taking with the knight, took with the pawn. Okay, well, cool. That's a good general takeaway. This knight move was kind of critical. Going back to our list of things that you can do. One of them is trading pieces, right? So just in general, you want to swap off some pieces, and sometimes it's a small difference. Sometimes it's a big one. In this case, it turned out to be a big difference. Okay, what's a good move here for white? Knight to h6 is a decent guess, but not correct. If you go right here, then they can go like this. And the bishop's still guarding g8 and everything. You can push through actually with queen to g3, and it's looking like you got something here. But, going back to direct defense principles, he's going to go this way and really kind of clamp down on this square. Just going to directly defend right there. Knight to e5 was suggested. Yep, I think that was a good move. In fact, it was better than what Pillsbury played himself. Yeah, knight to e5. Whoa, cool. So if you go this way, they can't go here because you would just win the rook. Well, what about if they go knight takes? Now you go here. And then we have a little pawn avalanche of our own going. In the game, though, he goes this way. Knight takes on b3. So after this move, now they're going to take back this way, and then now we do that move mentioned a second ago, and now it's critical. If you don't play this move, it's back to even. So after right here, so again, good idea, just wrong timing. Now is the right timing. Okay, rook comes over this way, and then how do you continue here? And remember, if this attack does, I mean, it's looking promising. We got some momentum, right? But if this attack fails, we are going to lose this game for sure. These pawns are pretty awesome, Our attack absolutely needs to work now. Okay, so after we take right here, then they take back. Okay, what's the follow up? Rook to f2 was suggested. Let's look at that for a second, actually. So if you go right here. Now disaster would strike. You go like this. And then it's going to be a little too late now to do this move, since they don't even need to take this. Oops, they got another queen. Queen g4 was suggested. So let's see here. If you go to g4, that works just as well. Good suggestion. What are we trying to do with this queen, though? So whether it goes to G3 or G4, what are we up to? Somehow get mate. Yep. We lost a knight. We're down a knight. These pawns are coming in. Does this ladder mate work? Can we do it now? Positions becoming more and more sharp. So one thing I want to point out is that, earlier in the lesson, there were several points where there were several good moves. So that's what's called a dull position. And a dull position doesn't mean exciting or boring or, all that. A dull position is a position where there's more than one good move. A sharp position is one in which the best move is significantly better than the ones below it and so forth. And so that's what we have here. We have a sharp position. There's actually only one good move here, and it's not rook to f4. They have perpetual after this. Yes, I believe so. Yep, you nailed it. Yep, perpetual. King h1, yes, you got the right answer too. After right here, it's a perpetual check. And of course, we wouldn't want to stop this with the rook, because remember, we're down. This is coming in, and we're down a knight, so we can't do this. We'd lose, so we'd settle for the perpetual there. King to h1. Yep. What is the point of this move? What are we trying to do? And why was that move so critical? I don't know the answer to this question myself yet. For some of these, I'm figuring it out with you guys at the same time. This move was vital. It was worth a rook. That was a 5-point move. Rook f4 would have been dead even. This is a vital, super critical move. I do not see the answer myself. What's the significance of that? To bring the rook into attack? Rook g1, right? That's what we're doing. Rook g1. Yes, cool. So instead of going this way about it, we're going, hold on, what if we go this way? Cool. After this, now we're going to go rook to g1, sacrificing another guy right here. It's going to be this pawn right like so. And then after this, now we're just going to go queen to h4. Checkmate. Psych, just kidding. He can block it. He can go like this. But then we have checkmate in a few moves. What do we do here? Sack our queen for no reason? Nope. That'd be bad. Don't want to do that. Queen to f4 check. And then after right here, we take like this. And then we've won material and the game is over. There's nothing difficult in this position whatsoever. Psych, just kidding. We're still facing this, right? So how are we gonna wrap it up? Oh, and then we got our tournament starting, so I gotta wrap up this game here. After this, now we go here. Got to keep the pressure up and keep the material in our favor. Pawns are still coming down the board. How do we meet this? With checkmate. That's how we meet it. What do you guys think? Cool game? You like this one? Defensive chess. Hope you guys dig it. After king h1. G6, a nice defensive resource? Quite possibly. Not exactly sure. All right, tournament has started. You are more than welcome to join. Glad you guys liked the lesson. In that PDF that I sent you guys, that came with this and everything, it's got links to all these different things if you want to explore it some more.